Hi, I'm Toby from Bonamy Travel, and welcome back to our mini-series on the experiences you can embark upon with Bonamy Travel. So without further ado, let's jump into this month's topic, and that is all about boating safaris. Boating safaris are without a doubt one of my absolute favourite ways of exploring this incredible wilderness. It's an amazing sense of tranquility, excitement. It's a different perspective once again on this world. You're able to get different angles on the big wildlife sightings that you just can't from a vehicle or from being on foot. You can get low and looking up at these animals really close to you. It's just unbelievable. But it's just the tranquility, really, as I said, for me that, I don't know, I just absolutely love that sense of being at complete freedom. You're just in the wild and it's just incredible. In this video, to try and make it structured and easy for you to digest and understand what we're going to talk about, what we'll go over is the different types of boating safari that are available, where you can go on these types of boating safaris, and other little top tips to know about each and every one of them. What we'll also share at the end is some insider info on kind of how to think about it in terms of photography, potentially, what to make sure you take with you, what you shouldn't take with you on the boats, and we'll kind of wind through it that way. So let's start with the different types of boating safaris and actual out-and-out safaris that you can go on. To start with, we can talk about the more motorized boats. There are some electronic versions of these now as well. But these are flat bottom boats that go up and down main river channels typically, sometimes the back channels of, say, the Okavango Delta. And here, these boating safaris are amazing for actually getting you in great positions for photography of bird life, maybe elephants. You can get really quite close to crocodiles who are sunning themselves on the banks of, say, the Zambezi River, and you can be at eye level. It's a bit daunting to begin with, but you're safe. You can get some really fascinating photography also of hippos right again at eye level. So these boating in the motorized boats really are a great way to get fantastic photos of wildlife, but it's also a very relaxing type of safari. You can have a G&T as you drift down the waterways. You've got really nice comfortable chairs. If you want to, you can fish off the side of them as well, obviously catch and release. There's a number of other lovely types of experiences you can have on these more flat bottom boats, including this time where James and I were treated to a rather spectacular lunch whilst we were staying at Chiawa Camp in the lower Zambezi of Zambia, where we had a champagne lunch, all in the name of hard work, obviously, whilst we're being serenaded by this elephant bull that was crossing the Zambezi. It's rather spectacular, and you can get some of these incredible experiences in different countries. Boating safaris like this, though, the best places typically from our experience is in either Botswana and Botswana's Okavango Delta up into that Chobe area. The Chobe area can get quite busy, so if you're in the more remote concessions of the delta, then it can be really spectacular. You need to be quite careful, and we'll chat to you about that, about kind of the times of year when the water levels are a good level for you to be able to do boating experiences. Zambia and Zimbabwe, they're split by the Zambezi River between the Lower Zambezi National Park and Mana Pools in Zimbabwe. That is another spectacular area to go boating. There are other spots within Zimbabwe and in Zambia especially, for example, up in the Lua Plains at a certain time of year where you can get out along the Kafue. You can also get out on the boat. In Tanzania, in the Selous Game Reserve, you could also head out on boat on the Rufiji River. You can also, in parts of Kenya, get out on boats. On top of that, if you're wanting a slightly different boating experience and not necessarily quite as wild, Uganda also has some really awesome options, as does Rwanda. So there's some lovely boating experiences you can have in a number of areas. I've probably missed a few as well, but those are really the core boating safaris that you can do on those motorized flat bottom boats. A second type of boating excursion, and I'll split this into two. There's Mokoro, which is more traditionally Botswanan, and then there's the canoes that you'd find more in the Zimbabwe, Zambia, along the Zambezi then again, and in other destinations. Mokoro, that's a wonderful experience and about as calm and peaceful as boating experiences you could ever wish for. This is traditionally Botswana, and you have a poler who stands on the back, almost like the gondolas of Venice, and will pole you quietly down the back channels, avoiding anything too high intensity. You find some amazing little painted reed frogs on the reeds. It's beautiful for bird life. You can sometimes come across hippos and elephants, absolutely, but it's a very tranquil and calm and wonderful experience. If you're lucky enough, the boatmen might sometimes sing for you as they're punting their way back towards camp, towards the end of the evening if you've gone for a sunset Mokoro. In other countries, like in Zambia, canoes are more frequent, and those are paddled from within side as opposed to being poled. Again, an absolutely wonderful experience, very calm, very relaxing. A little bit more chance of coming across hippos in some of the back channels of the Zambezi River. So a little bit, something to be a bit more aware of, but we only recommend that you go to places with phenomenal guides, so you can rest assured that you'll be safe from that point of view. The main thing to note about these types of Mokoros and dugout canoes is actually how wonderfully historical they both are for these cultures. In Botswana and in Zambia and Zimbabwe, they always traditionally used to be cut out of either big sausage trees or mango trees. Now, with ecotourism and the focus on trying to preserve landscape, nature as much as possible, they are introducing some more carbon fibre shells so that we're not cutting down trees to be able to service safari guests, which is a really important thing to be aware of. But the history and the culture of them goes many, many, many generations back, and many of the polers, especially in Botswana, who will end up poling you on a safari, that's where they grew up. They grew up in the northwest of the delta, poling their way around their communities during the flood seasons, and often it's how these gentlemen, typically from these very remote areas, actually start their journey into the guiding world and into this hospitality service. So it's really got a wonderful story that you can be part of when you head out on a Mokoro. Just briefly jumping in here to say that boating safaris are incorporated as a part of the greater safari. So you would be going to an area where there are game drives, there's the option of walking, there's all sorts of different activities possible, and boating safari is another one of those. There are, of course, dedicated solely on the water types of safaris, but that's not the majority of the time, and the option to go on a flat bottom boat or a canoe or a Mokoro is very much a part of the rest of the safari experience. Just thought I'd add that in there. So those are the three main safari out and out types of boating safari. There are also what we call sunset cruises, and usually these are around Victoria Falls, where you head out on a nice, maybe joint afternoon excursion with a G&T or a beer, and you go for a nice pootle along. You might come across some interesting wildlife, but it's usually just about kind of relaxing out on the river itself. But that's also a slightly different non-safari-y, but still out there in the wild boating excursion. On top of that, there are also a number of types of boating experience that you can do to accompany your safari, whether that be towards the beginning, breaking it up, or at the end. One that many of our guests love going on is a houseboat, and it's a slightly different type of experience, a little bit out there, but you're on the boat and you slowly go down some of the main waterways, getting off the boat for little excursions on some of the smaller dugout canoes, etc. as you go. That's a really lovely way to maybe actually start a safari. We often say, you can be at the end, but often to begin the safari, just to gently ease you in, allow you to catch up on jet lag, allow you to start to relax into your holiday by being on one of these lovely houseboats. So they're not for everyone, but they are great fun. There are also amazing dhows being a traditional sailing boat that you find off the east coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean, off the Zanzibar or off Mozambique. And these are amazing fun to head out with. You can race in the dhows if you want. I'm absolutely useless at sailing them, so I've actually quite embarrassingly lost one of those races on a trip when I was with Olivia, my wife.
Go, 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 go! You're getting left behind here. Yeah.
but you can also head out for lovely romantic afternoons, sunsets, typically more of a sunset thing. These are really lovely. There is even one boat in Kenya, off the coast of Kenya, which you can actually stay on for multiple nights. Unbelievably wonderful. I haven't done it yet, but it's something that's right at the top of our wish list. So let us know if you're interested in that. And then also within the African continent, as it were, and the islands off it, in Madagascar, we're now seeing a really awesome rise in almost Galapagos style catamaran cruises that you can go on multi-week, single week, where you're exploring all the incredible archipelagos, inlets, the marine world. Unbelievably beautiful. Okay, so there's also a few things you might want to think about in terms of taking on the boats with you. I'm going to focus more on the specific safari excursion, so the flat bottom boat or the canoe/Mokoro. It is important to think about it. On the flat bottom boats, take really kind of whatever photographic equipment you want. So you can take a normal camera like the one I'm recording on now, which I'll show you here, and you can also take rather your big lenses as well. So telephoto, zoom lenses. If you're traveling with massive lenses, you can go on those boats with them as well, because you've got the space for it. I would take your camera bag with you for those, but the angles you're going to get, also the bird life you're going to get, the chance to take photos of, the angles and shots of crocodiles, hippos, maybe elephants, where you might actually be looking up at them. It's pretty spectacular. So definitely take your kind of main photographic kit for that. Take all of it. I'd also 100% recommend taking binoculars if you have them. I mean, binoculars, I would say, is the most important thing you guys can take with you on safaris. They just really allow you to get that bit closer, enjoy it. There are ways you can rent binoculars. Let us know if you're interested in renting them or purchasing them. We've got some really good advice on what to do there, but definitely take those on the big boating ones. I would also suggest taking binoculars on the canoes and Mokoros. They're watertight enough. Obviously, if you've got the most expensive pair, just be careful. But in terms of camera on the smaller Mokoros and canoes, that's really going to have to be up to your own personal discretion. I do take mine because I'm also trying to capture footage for the business and for the company. In all honesty though, that experience isn't about photography. Just like a walking safari isn't about taking amazing photos, it's more about immersing yourself in the experience. A Mokoro and the canoe is again more about that. And actually, just taking a mobile phone on those is absolutely fine. I'd recommend maybe taking one of these really sexy see-through phone pouches that you can either film through or you can very easily just take out. They're waterproof. So yeah, maybe a good option to take that if you are going to an area where there's going to be a lot of water. For example, the Congo, where you're not necessarily doing much boating, a little bit of canoe, but you're in and out of the water quite a bit. So one of these as well, if you're going to the Okavango Delta or to the Zambezi, a good thing to take. And then I would always, when heading out on a boat, whether it's a Mokoro or whether it's a flat bottom boat, take a long sleeve shirt. It gets hot out there on the water. I take a wide brim hat if possible, sunglasses. The team will have lots of water to give you, but make sure that you do ask for extra water, because it is important to stay hydrated out in those open areas. And that's about it really. Just enjoy it, love it. It's one of my absolute favourite things to do on safari, and I hope that you do choose to incorporate an area where it's possible to go on the water at some point. Thank you so much for watching this month's instalment. Please do leave comments with questions about either boating safaris, where you can do it, when you can do it, or any other type of video that you'd find helpful to learn a bit more about. It'll give me some good inspiration as to what to do these videos on. I love doing them. They're a little bit daunting, but with a little bit of help from you guys, that would be really appreciated. If you don't mind putting some comments down below. And I've been told that you need to all subscribe to the channel. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to our channel. It will apparently help us in some way, but ultimately this is to help you. Thank you guys.